All right, good morning. I'm over at Kimmer Transmission. Got to pick up the parts, some of the parts. I think we might have here. I know we got the old transfer case, maybe a drive shaft or two, I'm not sure. But the Hummer's getting sent down to Fabrication today. The driver's just called me up, he's picking it up right now. I got to pick up these parts at Kimmer Transmission where they did all the transmission install, and then get this down to Randy where he can then put it all together today, because the transfer case and the strong box doubler, that all goes in today. So we got a lot of things going on today. Super excited.
All right, so factory T-case is in, garbage output shaft that broke, and 2 drive shafts. We're good to go. Got to get down to Randy now, put all this stuff together. All right, got all loaded up. Did get word that we have a broken rear quarter window on the H3 on the passenger side. So we got to figure out what we're going to do with that. Either put on a new piece of glass, which isn't too costly, thankfully, or we might come up with something else to do in that area. All right, made it down to Fabrication. Got the Hummer here, which is really awesome. Randy's over here looking at the transfer case and the strong box. Looks like a really cool setup. The shifters for it right here, these are going to be bent to kind of go down onto the floor of the Hummer, because there's really no room inside that vehicle for these things, but just get a little bit creative and make them work. Got some pretty cool boots that they came with. But it's the transfer case with the 300D, and then the strong box, which is the doubler. So really should be an amazing setup. Also, the front bumper is going to be going on with the winch, the off-road lights that are a part of it. Going to do a little work here on the roof marker lights. Didn't come with weather stripping. It's a used kit that I bought. Not in the greatest shape, but we're going to make it happen. Back here in the back, rear bumper is going to go on with the one big off-road reverse light that's on it. Fuel tank setup, etc. One thing we suffered at some point in this thing being stored for a really long time was a broken rear quarter window, so we'll get that thing replaced or do something kind of in its place. We'll take a look and see. Coming along the side here, we're going to be putting on a pre-filter over this. Used to be this scoop that just kind of caught air going forward, but allowed water and a whole lot of dirt and dust to come down through here, so that meant the actual air filter was getting just a whole bunch of junk in it, where the pre-filter will really protect the air filter really well. So inside, up here on the dash, there's going to be that dash bar. If you've seen other videos, there's a bar that's going to be across the dash for mounting things like this gauge here, this S-Pod, some other switches, things like a tablet for navigational stuff and being able to have some communications here. Well, we're all dropped off. Couple little things that still have to be figured out. The speed sensor that kind of sets, I had no idea that the speed sensor on vehicles is up in the transfer case. Didn't know that. And getting the new transfer case to work with, to be calibrated and to actually plug in to work with the H3 is another little piece that we got to figure out. But Randy's going to do some research on that. Also got to find out on the Behemoth transfer case, does it take ATF? Does it use gear oil? So we got to figure that out as well. So got some fluids we got to get. He's got plenty of ATF now for the transmission, but we want to make sure we use the right fluid in the transfer case and the strong box as well. My guess is those are going to take gear lube, not ATF, but we'll see. So man, I'm so excited. This is crazy. We're getting in about 3 days early from where we thought we were going to be. And oh, another thing we got to figure out too is the wiring on the transmission. There's 2 bundles of wires under there. I'm going to call my buddy Chris. He's got a monster Hummer H3, I like to call it that, exoskeleton, etc. He's got a 6-speed in his as well. Going to call him and find out what those 2 bundles of wires go to. Obviously one's to the ECU or the computer. The other one, I'm not really sure. So Randy's going to do some research on that as well, but we're going to get it figured out. But right now, we got the H3 in good hands. We're really excited. This thing's gonna be a dream when it's done. When the Hummer this morning, when the Hummer got picked up by the tow truck, and I had called Natalie and she's like, hey, do you know, have you heard, has the Hummer been picked up? And I said, yes, it's on the way to Randy right now as we speak. She's like, I'm almost gonna cry. She was saying, I'm just gonna cry. This has been so long. All right, I'm back home. Very overcast, sun to the west. It currently is 6:15, 6:13 to be exact. And we are at 99% on both batteries, which is maxed out. We call that 100% since we have a constant draw on them. 2 full days with no plugged into the shore power, just letting the solar do its thing on very cloudy, not ideal days, and we're keeping this trailer completely topped off, which is an awesome thing. And as you guys already know, the Hummer's in the shop. So
I almost cried today. It was like, how long have we been waiting now to get it?
have mercy.
I don't even mean like from the beginning, but like just to get it to Randy.
Yes, months. Just for
Months.
this phase, months, for the whole phase.
A year and
A half-ish, something like that. So, a couple snags we ran into on the transmission today that we're getting it figured out. So when we got this through True Blue Motorsport, it came with this adapter that takes it from the 6L80 transmission to the transfer case of the H3. And so they took half of a 6L80 adapter and half of the Hummer H3 transfer case, and they cut them in half, welded them together, and then left them for us to then drill out. Absolutely Mickey Mouse. When
not even that good.
no, yeah, actually, yeah. So Randy called me up and he says, hey, you know, these holes aren't matching up. So he called the guys over at Behemoth and said, hey, this transfer case you sent, the adapter you sent me doesn't match up with the 6L80. And they're like, it should. And they were right, it should. So then Randy investigated some more. That's when he found the 2 pieces welded together to make a absolutely Mickey Mouse adapter for this transmission to work. And then this is the piece, Natalie, that we had to get. We waited 2 months to find a machine shop that would even drill this thing out so it would then bolt on. Because
It was longer than that.
was it 3 months, 4 months? It was
I don't know.
months.
It was more than 2. It was probably 5 months.
Was it? Okay.
At least.
So the machine shops
I think
didn't
it was
want to
September.
touch it. There was no template for them to drill from. There was nothing. And they looked at the whole thing and they're like, I don't want to drill this out. This looks Mickey Mouse. We finally found a guy that would do it. He charged us $800 to drill 6 holes, I believe it is, without a template, because he's like, I don't want to do it. I don't want to do it. Finally, we conned him or talked him into doing it. And he was right. He was right. It never should have been done to begin with. So what a mess. But we ordered the new adapter. Natalie ordered it. Randy sent us over the adapter that we need. Natalie's ordered that. And then also getting the speedometer sending unit into the new transfer case. We've had to kind of adjust there because the stock one from the H3 doesn't fit. But Randy did some research and found out the parts that we need for that. We got all that ordered. It's coming to him. And then also we need 75 weight and 90 weight for the strong box and the transfer case. So we fill those with different fluids, and I'm going to order all of that. We're going to get that in the synthetic, and then the whole Hummer will be 100% synthetic. Every drop of everything will be synthetic, so I'm really excited about that. Right now, we've had a great day, a busy day, a stressful day a little bit.
Yes.
Now it's time for dinner. What are we having?
We are having barbecue chicken thighs.
Barbecue chicken thick and chives. Barbecue thick and chives on the Ice Co grill,
Yeah.
which I'm gonna miss when we leave this place because we can't carry it with us. There's no room.
But we'll have the fire grill.
We'll have the fire grill.
I forget what that grill's even called.
Yeah, the disco.
Okay. Not that we've used it.
Not that we've ever used it. We're not gonna use it till we celebrate actually leaving a campground. I will tell you one thing that's been really good being here at the Jellystone is Bailey. We moved out of our neighborhood. We sold our house, and Bailey moved away from all of her friends. That was tough. But she's made so many friends here of people that are staying long-term here just like we are. It's been good.
I know, but now she's like, I don't want to leave the Jellystone.
Eventually, everybody leaves the
Yeah,
Jellystone.
even everybody is. Everybody.
Yeah, all of our friends that we've
They
made
all
here.
have dates that they're leaving. I keep reminding her of that.
Yes.
All right, let's put on the chicken, or put the chicken on the grill. Is that too hot?
Yes, that's really hot. All right, so what do we have on this chicken, babe?
We have salt and pepper,
Barbecue sauce?
garlic powder, and barbecue sauce.
What kind of barbecue sauce are you using?
I think it's the Primal Kitchen barbecue sauce,
Okay, cool.
because it doesn't have any added sugar. Woo. Okay, I'm gonna throw some asparagus on here that I have rubbed in oil.
All right, dinner is served. Asparagus, chicken, smells great. And then Natalie also whipped together avocado and tomato salad, which I really love. Well, we're gonna eat dinner. Enjoy the little fire here tonight. Dodge the hummingbirds. And we will see you guys in daylight. We are back with the H3. It was a long, hot past couple of days and I'm exhausted. Not enough sleep last night, but we got a little bit of work to do here ourselves. But let me show you what we got going on so far. So, this is in the back tailgate, that upper portion of the interior, replacing that plastic molding. Come over here and check this out. All right, so we got the front bumper winch on, Factor 55 products right here on the front. I mean, this just looks so good. Everything's been powder coated. I think that just looks really, really incredible. We got the lights over here as well, off-road lights. Headlights are all in. Coming over right here on this bench. So here, these are the shifters for the Behemoth transfer case and strong box doubler. So these are all getting modified in order to fit on the floor of the Hummer. Transfer case still not in yet because we're getting, is that the adapter? Oh, look, this is the one. All right, so check it out. This is the adapter that it adapts to the engine and the transmission that we got from True Blue Motorsports. We had to get this machined because the holes didn't line up. So you can see how to get them drilled, they had to overlap other holes. Really not a good design. So what it is, you have this whole adapter is cut in half down here. One was from the 6L80, one was from the H3, and it was cut down and then welded together. I had no idea that that's what was done here. So instead of just making a part that fits, they took two parts, welded them together, and sent it to us without the holes without the holes drilled in. So we had to get that done. So we spent a whole lot of money to get these drilled in for this whole piece to be useless anyway. And it's two pieces welded together. It doesn't sound good to me. So we're moving on from that. We have an adapter that's on the way. It'll be here in a couple days that will mate the 6L80 transmission with the transfer case from Behemoth, all one piece, no Mickey Mouse holes, no welded together parts, no fabricating two things that don't go together to make them work. It's just going to be one part that actually does what it's supposed to do. So that we're excited about. Let's move around. I want to show you the rear bumper. New rear bumper is installed. This is a swing out tire carrier and this thing is seriously beefy and it's not going to rattle. We're going to be able to put on the spare and then mount some things on the spare with no risk of being a weight problem. It has a super cool locking mechanism right here and then a pin you pull where you lock it out into place. So when you swing it out of the way, you can just lock it into place so you don't worry about it coming back and becoming an issue. Next thing we have is, this is the filler neck for the fuel tank, which is under there for the auxiliary fuel tank. So got the filler neck in here. The factory backup camera is in place. This looks really, really good.
Really excited about that. Oh, and then one more thing we have over on passenger side is a rear backup light. This isn't the normal backup light when you throw it into reverse. This is when you're out on a trail, it's dark, you need to back up and you want a whole lot of light behind you. We got that light right there that we can throw on. Another thing I forgot to tell you about the bumper install. So the frame horns, they come out and they stick out kind of like where these D shackles are. And they stick out. With this bumper, this was a Thor bumper, a Thor parts bumper that has been now modified to do what we wanted to do with it. It didn't come with a brace that braces the two frame horns out. So we have heard of guys taking this bumper or similar bumpers when they're wenching out of a really tight spot, or they're wenching a really heavy vehicle trying to help someone else out, and they tweak their frame, they bent it in. So the frame would sit like this, those horns, and it's just gone, and they've bent their frame. That's not what we want at all. So what Randy did up underneath the bumper is he put a brace that you can bolt on and off that takes those two frame horns and just locks them into place so they can't then collapse upon each other. From the factory on the H3, they had that bar in place behind the plastic bumper. So we wanted to kind of put that back in place on this bumper. Rolling? All right, so this is the factory shifter, but it's for a 4-speed. Right now what Randy's doing is grinding down a new zero gravity 6-speed shifter that works with the 6L80 transmission. It'll allow us to select what gear we're in. We can drop it all the way down into first gear, second gear, third gear, all over. We can select whatever gear we want to be in. Where, once again, I don't want to beat a dead horse, but what we were told from True Blue Motorsports is no, you don't have to do any of that. You just use your shifter, you drop it into first, you can stay in first forever. You can shift it however you want. You can solve all these problems in the tune. Well, you still can only select first, second, third, and overdrive on the factory shifter. So it was never really going to work as stated. So now we can shift in first, second, third, fourth, fifth, and sixth and put them in any gear we want. So that's a cool thing. It is a pretty serious modification because this one is very small and the zero gravity 6-speed shifter is much larger. But hopefully it all works out really well. I think it's going to look really nice when it's in, and then it'll give us so much more control over what our transmission is doing. All right, so the original H3 has that kind of T-grip. We're going to try to reuse that boot because we have a wider area on the center console. The zero gravity has this narrow boot, so we're going to try to use that one. It'll look better. And then here's the handle on the zero gravity. You can see the plus or minus shift selector, and then of course you got your button here where you move it to actually move your shifter forward and back. But I think that's going to be really nice looking, not as beefy Hummerish as this big massive T-grip, but this one will give us what we need. So inside the H3, I think you guys, if you've seen the previous videos, we got up here the new rear view mirror. This rear view mirror has the built-in backup camera in the screen. This is one from, I think, an H2, been modified to fit the H3. Another thing we have is up here on the dash. This is a communications bar for radios, tablets, different things like that. That's all installed now, been powder coated. I think that looks really cool. Down here is where the shifter is going, the new shifter. You can see how wide the boot is for the H3, that boot area. So we need to make sure we can fill that whole hole. If not, it's going to look pretty terrible. So Randy's got a plan for that. That should come out really nice. Another thing we have down here on this side is where the shifters are going to go for the transfer case and the strong box. So down in here, they're going to kind of go down the floor and just aim forward, laying kind of flat to the ground. Not sure exactly where they're going to go, if they're going to be a little bit to the right or just dead center, kind of between the feet down here. But we looked at it the other day and it looks like there should still be room to get in and out without having too much problem. So really excited about everything happening now. Okay, so we had some success there. Some things we still got to figure out, but getting all the pine tar off of the roof of the H3 was good, because hopefully in the next day or two we can come down here with the rooftop tent, put it up there. At that point then Randy can mount or make a bracket to mount the Wii Boost so it clears the iCamper rooftop tent. It's going to wire power up into that tent so we can have lights, charging ports, etc. And let's see what else.
Well, you saw the other things that we have completed on the Hummer. The thing that we got to figure out, which is the one thing that's been concerning me for a while, is how do you wire in that transmission to the ECU on the H3, to the computer, so that way it knows when to shift, you can tune it, you can program it, the whole thing, and we still don't know. You know, you talk to True Blue and they say, oh, just do this and do that, and it sounds so simple, but it doesn't make sense with the wiring kit. You talk to the Zero Gravity Performance about their shifter, and they said, oh, you just splice into the original harness and all this stuff, and once again, it still doesn't make clear sense. So Randy's gonna get on the phone with everybody, try to get everybody on the phone talking, and see if we can figure out what is it really gonna take to get all this together, because last thing he wants to do is wire something up incorrectly and you start shorting out different things, and then you're now tracing down wire problems that didn't even exist before you started working on it. So I know he's going to make sure he gets it right. So that's all we know for right now, but we'll learn more as we go. So like I mentioned to you guys earlier, we're all exhausted. Long, hot couple days. Temperature's really nice right now. It got up to like 97 today, so it was brutal. But we're just getting an easy meal, but a really good meal. Burgers on the grill. Some of these mushrooms that we got from the Parker Farmers Market. This is a lion's mushroom.
Lion's mane.
Lion's mane mushroom?
Yes.
I don't remember ever having it. Let's try it. Really, really good. Burgers are good, pickles are good, everything is really awesome. Tomorrow's another day.